The remarks by the Principal Secretary, State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services, Dr. Kipsang Berio, during the World Refugee Day commemoration at the Kenya Christian Industrial Training Institute, Nairobi, on 20th June 2025. The global theme is solidarity with the refugees, community as a superpower. The development partners present, Mr. Suhail as a representative of the country representative UNHCR, Mr. Brian Morama, County Executive Committee member, Talent Skills and Development, Nairobi City County Government, Mr. Rashid Ibrahim, Senior Advisor in Executive Committee, Executive Office of the President, members of private sector, Safaricom, distinguished national government administration officers representing the county commissioner for Nairobi, the private sector, including all the partners who have supported us. And I would urge that we applaud all these partners, Danish Refugee Council, the RLOs, Youth Voices. Can we clap for them because of the support they have given us to be able to hold this day? Refugees, refugee-led organization, the host community. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Or is it still morning? Good afternoon again. Today, 20th June, we are gathered here at the Kenya Christian Industrial Training Institute to commemorate World Refugee Day 2025. This occasion is not simply a date on the calendar. It is a solemn opportunity to reflect on our shared responsibility to humanity and to reaffirm our collective commitment to those that have been forcibly displaced from their homes. These are the refugees and asylum seekers, the population living within our borders and amongst the host communities. The global theme for this year, solidarity with the refugees, community as a superpower, aligns with Kenya's national focus under the Shirika Plan of turning refugee camps into integrated settlements for refugees and host communities, as well as ensuring refugees are self-reliant. This theme reminds us that the challenges faced by refugees require more than resources. They require compassion, cooperation, and courage. They also highlight the strength found within communities and the vital role of solidarity at the local level in driving positive change, both nationally and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the Department for Refugee Services, who work closely and in collaboration with UNHCR, Nairobi City County Government, refugee-led organizations, and a broad network of partners to make this day a success. Despite the difficulty context of reduced global funding for refugee response, we have come together to deliver a meaningful, inclusive, and cost-effective celebration. This has only been possible through your generosity, the in-kind contributions, and local partnerships. We are grateful to each one of you who has made this day possible. Kenya continues to host more than 850,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Most reside in Dadaab, Kakuma, and Kalobey, while a growing number have settled in urban areas such as Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Ruiru, Kitengela, Eldoret, and others. As a nation, we take great pride in the hospitality and protection we have extended to those fleeing conflict, persecution, and climate-related disasters. However, this commitment is increasingly under pressure. As a country, we feel constrained by the changing global humanitarian landscape that has affected Kenya negatively as a host country. In recent years, significant cuts in international humanitarian funding has led to severe consequences for refugees and host communities alike. Despite the increasing number of refugees, resources are going down. This has placed immeasurable pressure on national resources, as well as donor and humanitarian aid organizations. We are witnessing a reduction in food rations, limited access to healthcare, rising insecurity, and shrinking education opportunities. The most vulnerable are suffering the most, particularly women and children. Early pregnancies, malnutrition, and preventable diseases are on the rise. There have been incidences of community protests, domestic violence, mental health cases, and petty crimes of theft, thuggery, burglary, and an upsurge of violence. Families are making impossible choices between sending their children to school and providing food for the day. Depression, desperation, and hopelessness are setting in. The situation is no longer business as usual. We need to take corrective action. Ladies and gentlemen, let us also recognize Kenya's contribution as a regional stabilizer by hosting the huge number of refugees generated through protracted situations in the region. The sustainability of refugee hosting and the stabilization Kenya provides for the region is under serious challenge and concern. And our concern is that with the reductions in humanitarian support towards refugee hosting in Kenya, the country cannot shoulder the responsibility alone. Refugee being an international responsibility and obligation borne by the UN Convention of 1951 signatory member states, the principle of shared burden should continue to be fulfilled and observed by the international community. Kenya remains steadfast on meeting its international obligation in pursuit of its national interests. We commend particularly the host communities who have shown consistent generosity over the past 3 decades. They shared land, water, schools, and hospitals, often with limited resources to themselves. They are the core providers of protection and must be included in every solution that we design. Even in the face of the growing challenges, Kenya has taken an important step forward through the development and launch of the Shirika Plan, a transformative strategy for the next 12 years. The Shirika Plan is a government of Kenya blueprint on transforming refugee management and approaches in the country. This is a Kenya-led initiative that moves us away from a model solely on humanitarian aid dependency towards one rooted in socio-economic integration, dignity, and self-reliance. It prioritizes access to government services at all levels, local development and economic inclusion for both the host community and refugees who support each other. We envision a future where refugee settlements are thriving neighborhoods, where businesses flourish, where children have access to quality education, and where families are safe and self-reliant. The Shirika Plan reflects Kenya's commitment to long-term solutions and our desire to align humanitarian response with national development goals. Government is keen to fully onboard refugees through inclusion into the financial ecosystem of the country. to facilitate them into entrepreneurship, micro and mega businesses, where they will generate revenues and progressively contribute to the Kenya's economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is a practical demonstration of this spirit. We have seen exhibitions by refugee entrepreneurs, performances by both refugees and host community artists, and discussions led by the refugee voices. Many services are being offered on site, and we are recognizing individuals and organizations that have significantly advanced the cause of refugee inclusion in the country. These activities highlight the very essence of the global theme that community is our greatest superpower. My call to you, to our international development and humanitarian partners, I extend sincere gratitude. Your continued presence and collaboration are essential to this journey. Let us work closely to operationalize and scale the Shirika Plan with urgency and ambition. The government will not do this alone. To donors, countries represented here today, I respectfully urge you to stand with Kenya. Our commitments remain strong, but the needs are growing and resource basket keeps shrinking. Resources required to sustain refugee programs cannot be carried by host countries alone, owing to their national responsibility and obligations to its citizenry. Your investment is not only a moral obligation, but also a strategic one that promotes regional and global stability and economic growth, a balance that is critical and imperative. We have to ensure we maintain this balance by applying our synergies of working collectively towards sustainable refugee interventions. To the private sector, led by organizations such as Safaricom and the financial institutions, thank you for your support. Your role is critical in refugees' lives. Issues of access to SIM cards and mobile money are very important in ensuring access to services. Refugees also bring skills, ideas, and resilience. With the right support, they can drive innovation, create jobs for fellow refugees and Kenyans, and contribute to the formal economy. We encourage more private companies and organizations to explore opportunities alike to civil society, academia, and the media. I urge you to continue amplifying the voices of those often unheard. Your advocacy counts. Change begins with understanding, and stories have the power to shift perceptions and policies. Ladies and gentlemen, we must remember that refugee issues are not only humanitarian. They are developmental challenges. They are governance and security issues. They are, above all, a test of our shared humanity. We must ensure that every refugee child, like every Kenyan child, has access to quality education. We must protect the health and dignity of every woman and every family. We must create spaces where hope can thrive and where dreams are not interrupted by the displacement. We must implement the Shirika Plan not as a symbolic gesture, but as a serious and sustained national commitment. As we live here today, let us not forget that in times of crisis, our greatest strength lies in the communities we have and we live in. The neighbor who shares a meal, the teacher who makes space in the classroom, the nurse who offers care without question. These everyday acts are the foundation of a more compassionate and inclusive society. Such is the solidarity we need for the refugees. Let us commit ourselves to action that matches our words. Let us build systems that do not merely protect refugees, but empower them. Let us walk hand in hand across sectors, communities, and borders to deliver hope beyond borders and to live in solidarity with the refugees. Thank you, and God bless you.